Hello, my love bugs, my honey bunnies, my boolas. Mwah. Welcome to Love, Truth, and Beauty, episode 314. And in today's video, I'm continuing with populating my 58 or more video series playlist by reading aloud a translation that went from the Russian to Arabic to English of Hacking the Technogenic System by Vadim Zelen, who brought transurfing to the universe and to all of us. And now we hope that Vadim translates the book to English very soon. But until he does that, we talk about it in English from other translations with the personal efforts from my friends, Moheel, Jawad, and Teodora, Salvia, who took it upon themselves to take on the task of sharing its wealth of knowledge, particularly during this time in our human history. So I'm doing my part to share this invaluable information that can be integrated into knowledge and further integrated into wisdom. In fact, this is, I would say, the last chapter that inadvertently went out of order and sync by my F up, and 4 viewers who shall remain nameless caught my folly and pointed it out. Hey, you went from chapter 13 to 15. Imagine that. So grab your favorite beverage, sit back, and allow me to read to you chapter 14 of Moheel, Jawad's and Teodora Salvia's translation of Hacking the Technogenic System. This chapter entitled Bats and Flying Foxes. I still receive from my readers a number of questions about the system, and for start, I can address the 2 most important questions. The first, why, when you read a book, you feel optimism and joy, and then this optimism and joy vanishes somewhere. Since you asked such a question, the answer will come to you immediately, but although it will be simple, it will be vague at the same time. So where does optimism disappear, and why does it disappear? It disappears and vanishes because when you read the book, they tell you that directing reality is possible and that it is like directing the perceived dream. But after you move away from the book and dive into the same reality, it becomes clear to you that everything is different and that the issue is not as easy as you imagined. You are used to living the same dream again and again without realizing it, and it is the dream that controls you. This means that you jumped from a dream, the dream of the book, to another dream, to reality, a reality that is far from joyous. The answer is crystal clear. Everything is very simple, but everything is vague. Otherwise, why did you ask, right? The issue did not become so clear until now, when I uttered clear and precise words. But how was the situation before these words? Fog in the head. That's what it was, right? Or am I wrong? Of course, every person looks at the issue from his personal perspective because each person has his own level of knowledge and a certain degree of strength. And here lies the essence of the whole issue. Remember when you saw a movie and this movie gave you enthusiasm and inspiration, and then you became completely convinced that this is exactly what is required and you can do this too? And from this moment on, you will be another human being and you will be like him or her. But after time has passed, you become helpless again and prey to the same previous childhood dream. And all the promises you made to yourself disappeared, vanished somewhere, and the delusional optimism evaporated. And the second essential question, or rather, it is the first question, why do the questions arise in general? In books, everything is clearly written, yet the questions still creep in from somewhere, and there's always a new question followed by another question, then a third, and so the process continues. The answer is as follows. Because you failed to control daydreaming, that is, you failed to control your reality. And if you would have succeeded, the question would not have arisen no matter what, right? But why did you fail? We have clarified through discussing the previous topics that modern man is considered a consumer of information rather than a maker of it. It would be more accurate to use in this context the word creator instead of the word maker. If you are a receiver, in this case, you are watching other people's shows, But if you are a transmitter, you are more than creative with your shows. Do you realize the essence of what we are talking about here? The issue is as follows. When you watch other people's shows, you are living the unaware dream. In order to transform an unrealized dream into a materialized dream, you must personally transform from a receiver to a transmitter. The broadcaster is the one who does not abide by the ready-made templates and norms imposed by him on the social environment. He is the one who has the courage to impose laws and rules. The laws of the social environment, even if you know them and contrary to the laws of nature, are highly volatile laws and do not settle for a single situation. If you have the awareness of the creator and his intention, then you dream your reality becomes under control and can be controlled regardless of the circumstances that you may think are difficult circumstances. Do not be afraid of the strict and harsh expression, which is difficult circumstances. Take, for example, a common but impossible phenomenon. Bats are good at flying rather than they are good at flying. They have remarkable skill. But from the point of view of rational thinking and the well-known laws of mechanics, this is impossible. This is not possible, gentlemen, but it is a reality and we see it with our own eyes. And the same thing is also true for transurfing. The main question that arises is how to change from a receiver to a transmitter. The question is, free your consciousness, free your mind, and raise your energy level. Hence, this chapter can be summarized through the following points. Number one, this is the eternal question that arises. What can we do in such a situation? Here, we find ourselves forced once again to raise the same issue that causes people's anger. I have been compelled over and over again to repeat the following. It is necessary for transurfing to be viewed as holistic and indivisible principle consisting of three basic elements. How do we think? How do we feed? And how do we move? What is the meaning of holistic principle? It means that if we throw one or more of its constituent elements, we get something imperfect and incomplete, and thus the technique will lose its full strength. Thinking is the way you interact with the mirror of the world, meaning any image you form in front of the mirror and what your reaction will be to everything that is going on in the reflected image. Feeding is what enters into the human being, whether it's food or information. Movement becomes your lifestyle. It is vital activity or laziness and lethargy, and also includes your ability to deal with your body and with your energy sources. Number two, the point here is, although you are focused to live within the system, the ready-made stereotype or the matrix, through which your energy and consciousness are consumed, you must not be attached to it at the same time. This can be achieved if you use the second and third elements, namely feeding and movement, because all the other mental techniques such as meditation, stopping self-dialogue, up-leveling it, and diving into the depths of the subconscious, all of these methods are no longer useful. You will not be able to get rid of the net of the system by making use of the means that linked you to the system. In other words, you work in the opposite direction to what is known. If the system forces you to lead a sedentary life, do the opposite and start to seriously care about your physical shape. If the system offers you prepared, ready-made meals, switch to natural nutrition. If the system seeks to drown you with various empty information, turn your back on the system as I would say, and pretend that you are empty or flatulent. The system gives you all kinds of chemical and radiological toxins. You work on choosing everything that is ecological, starting from home and ending with decorative materials. It's a very simple principle. It is not necessary to switch to raw food directly or to hide immediately in an ecological reserve, but to start with what is simple and available. And it's important here to start and put your feet on the path, and then let the path lead you to where you need to be. Number 3, someone may object to all of this and say, transurfing works perfectly for me and the rest does not concern me because it works and this is enough for me. And there's no doubt about this, but I declare with confidence that this does not work with the same efficiency that it did 5 to 7 years ago, because the same effect, namely the effect of seizing and surrendering energy and consciousness, this applies to all of us without exception, because the reality is changing fast. And if you continue to live with the same old principles and according to the principles of this thing works and the rest is not important, then you will miss the train. You will miss the point. Number 4, in this universe, there's a type of mammal that arouses the greatest curiosity, namely the bat, whose front limbs have turned into wings. Some bats can fly only, but there are also others that can run and swim and launch from the middle of the water and fly through the air. Imagine that the creature were divided in an ancient time according to preferences they chose for themselves. And some creatures continue to stay on the ground, and others thought that this is very little and not befitting. But the reality, extending deep in time, does not know impossible circumstances. Someone has thought that, well, you can get what you want. Do you want to fly? So be it. And you have what you wanted. Is this only true for birds? Who said that? Each being chooses for itself the level of freedom and power it needs among those that chose wings. The strength preference varied a lot from one being to another. Take, for comparison, the 2 funniest creatures, the bat and the flying fox. Number 5, the flying mouse, the bat, is one of the most complete and mysterious creatures created by nature. And it is not in vain that the Batman version was copied after it. The bat has a nightlife lifestyle, has direct sight, and there is a point of view in the scientific community that says bats fly in space with the ultra-sensitive echo probe that they have. But this opinion raises many doubts. Nobody knows for sure, but some claim to know. Why do bats need an echo probe? Most bats feed on insects. A person cannot hear much of the sounds they produce because their frequencies may exceed our maximum perception by 20 kilohertz. The bats can live in a coma for a while, and there are unfavorable natural conditions. Flying foxes have a day and night lifestyle, and their food is mainly composed of fruits, nectar, and flowers. The flying fox has a wingspan of 1.5 meters and flies clumsily, but is always good in making its plans. Flying foxes have neither direct sight nor an echo probe. They live in swarms. They fight each other constantly, making a noisy bustle. Number 6, if the bat and the flying fox meet and chatter with each other, the next dialogue could take place between them. I'm a flying fox. Who are you? I'm the bat, the flying mouse. You, miserable, what a deformed dwarf you are. Look at yourself, you, disgusting hairy one. You are just puffed belly with a short tail. But I have beautiful ears, don't you see? As for you, you have a funny membrane. On the other hand, I have an echo probe, and even without it, I can see things clearly in the middle of the night. And I don't know why everyone thinks the echo probe can help with guidance in flight. They are just morons. This is no different from the blind person who searches in the woods for breakfast with a stick. But I have to chase insects, and they are very nimble. But why do you need an echo probe? Nobody has to know this, and this is still all my business. You're stubborn, my soft toy, and watch out so that it doesn't burst out of vanity. Not at all. We are humble and calm bats and fly with joy and live our lives in joy. As for you, rotten foxes, your flocks do not cease to roar and curse. So why are you making all that disgusting sound on the fly? Because of my joy, I can fly however I want, but I also fly, yes, but like a dog that has two wings. Over forests and fields, I can fly. I can light the ground with a dog's wings. So fly from here because I might unwillingly devour you. Not that cute because you are a vegetarian. And the debate continues like this. And in the same way, you also have flying foxes and bats among you. We are also different from each other in terms of needs or interests. Each of us chooses the level, her level of freedom and degree of strength according to his or her desire. But needs and interests can change over time, and tomorrow they will not be the same as today. And you meet each other, and at some point, one of you may say to the other, as if speaking secret words, I'm the flying mouse and I'm a flying fox. I'm a mouse and I'm a fox. But if I want to be a mouse, I can be. Number 7, when you read a book, you imagine that you can control reality and direct it like a dream. But once you move away from the book and dive into the same reality, it will be clear to you that this is not as easy as you imagined. Number 8, you will not be able to control reality because a person is considered a consumer, not a creator, and he is a receiver and not transmitter, meaning he is not a broadcaster. Number 9, the broadcaster is the person who does not adhere to the ready-made stereotypes and norms imposed on him or her by the social environment. Instead, he or she is the person who has the courage to impose his or her own laws and standards. Number 10, in order to transform into a transmitter in a broadcasting device, it is necessary that you free your consciousness and your mind and raise your energy level. Number 11, an important part of consciousness of contemporary man is an awareness that is stored in the system in order to serve the flow of information coming from outside. And there's another important part that is surrounded by the products of the environment of the technogenic system. Number 12, the factors that lead to the seizure of energy are the same that lead to the energy loss. Number 13, as a person ages, his or her consciousness becomes more and more absent, and his or her energy drops more and more. And as a result of the phenomenon of old flint arises. Number 14, in recent times, the seizure and encirclement of energy and consciousness has become accelerated and intense, albeit unnoticed. Number 15, transurfing should be viewed as holistic and indivisible principles that consist of 3 elements: how we think, how we feed, and how we move. Number 16, because you live within the system in the ready-made stereotype, this system consumes your energy and your awareness, and at the same time, you must not be a follower of the system. Number 17, you will only be able to break free from the system by the means that you connected to the system, meaning you must violate all the system's standards. Number 18, when the energy and awareness reach the critical point, all other difficulties automatically fall off. Number 19, each person chooses the level of freedom and power that he wants, that she wants, according to his, her needs. We say for scrutiny only that directive vision is the ability of the brain to perceive reality without using the eyes, i.e. directly. There is a school, and it is the Bronkov school, and there's a link here. In this school, they train to acquire the skill and also other skills. The direct vision of a person is a dream that a person sees while awake. In a normal dream, we only see the unrealized sector of the space of variations. The direct vision allows us to realize without using our eyes the 2 elements that make up our world, the metaphysical component and the physical component, and also the phenomena resulting from them. These skills are all very tight skills, but special exercises can make them more achievable. Children are the most capable of achieving this. For adults, despite the difficulty of succeeding in this, it is also possible. People sometimes ask me the question, on the internet, there is a lot of conflicting information about the Bronkov method. So do you know how to deal with this? People tend to trust what is written, especially if it is published through public media, and internet is one of them. The property of the internet is that it is a treasure, and at the same time, it is a storehouse of filth. Didn't such an idea ever occur to you? On almost the same shelf, accurate information is placed, and at the same time, an outright lie. But no one can control this totally uncontrolled situation. As for the Bronkov method, from the point of view of the narrow-minded observer, his approach is an imaginary approach to the extent that it cannot be related to reality. This is what the ignorant sees. He shakes his head and uses his tongue to say ugly things, and he will do anything stupid to justify his ignorance. Or I can say, in order to defend his ignorance. What has been written against transurfing, for example, this is a little thing. Okay, my loves, that is my speech. I hope you enjoyed my reading of the long lost chapter 14, Bats and Flying Foxes. Please help me grow my channel by giving this video a thumbs up and leaving a comment in the comments box below or in private. Please share this video with your community friends, family members, and share on social media platforms you feel would benefit from this content. Please hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell, selecting the all settings so that the YouTube will let you know when I upload. I'm generally uploading now Tuesdays and Fridays, 11 a.m. Eastern. And if you find value, enjoy, or benefit from my content videos, or at least entertained by them, won't you please consider supporting my work through a donation? My PayPal link is below, or you can support my work by buying me the proverbial cup of coffee, so to speak, on mycoffee.com/Dakini Kiss link. I thank you all so much for hanging out with me, with your participation and focused attention. I really do appreciate it. I cannot do this work without you, and I do this for those of you knowing that you are so much more than what the matrix defines you to be. So until next time, my dear hearts, always act from love outside of the matrix, from your center screen, composing a new reality, quantum jumping all your life lines so that you can be the love that you are. Share your love, create, make art, make music, make love. And you can all help me repopulate the true quantum field, creation field universe. Here's to love, truth, and beauty, my beautiful waking gods and goddesses. Mwah!